arrange out the start of our tune just a bit further. I'm going to start by adding in a couple wee drops for the drum track at the start here. So just before this change at bar 16, I'm just going to split this clip and I'm going to take out the final kick drum. Just so that it drops into that change a bit better. And then I'm also going to just minimize everything for now, and I'm going to insert another MIDI track, and I'm going to rename it. I'll call it Synth Blast, and this is just going to be a very strong trancey synth. It's detuned, and it's just going to play some stabs just as it drops into the main riff. And we're just going to use this preset, which is the second one down, which is alpha lead. And I just turn the cutoff frequency right up to the top, so that's very bright. And then we're going to have this just at the end of the main riff here, or just before the main riff comes in. So just listen to that bit. Okay, so we're going to have it coming in there. So I'm just going to create a MIDI clip just at that section. And I'm going to go in, and the notes are going to play from... Let's delete that. Make it even smaller just so it's more accurate. And because the main key of our track is just at this B flat or A sharp 3 or A sharp, we're just going to put our notes in to start on this A sharp note, and they have to end on this A sharp note. Well, they don't have to, but it's going to sound a lot better if we do that. So I'm just going to hit a few blasts. I'm going to snap this to, I'll do it to 32s, and I'll put the first one on A sharp 4. And I'll do a couple just below that. So I mean, straight away that just sounds a lot better. We're just going to finish this an octave lower, so I'm going to put it at A sharp 3. Okay, so you could just leave it like that, or the way I had it set up in the original way, I had another 2 notes here on E. Okay, so that sounds good like that, so we'll just leave that there for now. And we're just going to add in another ping pong delay in our return tracks here. Just add a couple of, going to put quite a lot of feedback on it and put a sidechain compressor on it just to get the build-ups a bit more brighter and some sort of feedback delay effects going on. So if we just rename this long, call it long delay. If we go to Live Devices, just drop in a ping pong delay. And again, this frequency that you pick here is going to be the frequency of the returned effect. So I'm just going to keep it in the mid-range, in around 1000 hertz, so about 1.6 kilohertz. And I'll keep the bandwidth up so it'll get a wee bit either side of that. I'm going to send the feedback right up to about 90%, and our dry wet up to 100%. And then I'm going to drop in a compressor after this, just to keep it under control. I'll bring a threshold right back on it, put the ratio up. And we're going to sidechain this with our kick drum. And what we're going to send to this is our flange synth here. So we've got our flange lead here at the main riff section. I'm just going to duplicate this and bring it in our breakdown. And I'm just going to loop it right the way out. But I'm actually going to go in and I'm going to move it up an octave. So at the minute it's at F2, I'm just going to move it up to F3. And I'm just going to send a bit of this to the long delay, which is our second one now. And if I just automate this line to send right up to close to 0 dB by the end of the riff. And we'll just take out this last half a bar here, or a quarter of a, I'll take out the last half a bar because this is where our main synth blast comes in. And then we'll turn the send back down to 0 again for coming back in on the main riff. So you can hear that ping pong delay from where this audio was sent at the start here. Still going, but the compressor is now sidechain compressing it. And because we're not sending anymore, it's not going to get any more of the signal sent through. I'm just going to turn the release time up on it. The longer the release time, the longer it'll take for the compressor to come back down. So it'll squash it for a longer time. Okay, so I think that sounds good there. I'm just going to go into this flange lead and I'm actually going to put a high pass filter during this breakdown just to get a bit more variation. I'm just going to drop it in between the compressor and the flange part. Just going to turn the high pass on. Let's hear it with the rest of the tune. Okay, so I think it sounds good, just around about 800, 900 hertz. And I'm just going to turn the auto filter off once we're finished with this breakdown. So we go to the auto filter and go to device on, and we just want to draw in control to turn it off. I'm going to just delete that automation point. So once we get to this point here, it's going to drop back into the full frequency range. So the device is now off. And we're just going to automate some of the flange effects here as well. So we've got this dry wet control. If we just click on that, you see we can now move that around on our automation screen. So I'm just going to send percentage of that. And again, drop it back down to 0 for the main riff. So you can hear the flange in effect coming in now. Okay, I'm just going to go in and move the ratio back on this sidechain compressor on the ping pong a bit. Okay, so one last thing I'm going to do with this flange lead is just increase the gate that's playing. So I'm just going to increase the gate time on the silent. So we go into the silent and we just open up the silent here and go to the arpeggio and click on the gate. This is the parameter we want to move around. So once we've clicked on that button, we should be able to automate this now. So if we create an automation point, make sure we put one at the end here. We're coming back into the original, and then create another point, and we should be able to open up this gate. So you can hear the gate starting to open up. It'll get a bit more blurry. Okay, so in the next tutorial, we're going to start bringing in some effects sounds and reverse vocal sounds.